Hello, this is D and I'm back with another video, and today we have a host of topics to discuss. We're going to talk about Microsoft once again being investigated by the FTC. Also, a new gaming company built around AI to make games great again. We're also going to, of course, discuss about Digital Foundry's presentation, or I should say analysis, of GT7 on the PlayStation 5 Pro. And last but not least, we are going to talk about a top Xbox game coming to the PlayStation. So first, let's just start off with the Microsoft news. Now, there's been quite a bit of Microsoft news, little stories here and there, nothing really huge to cover. Now, the avatars over at the Xbox, or I should say on the Xbox console, they will no longer be supported. Now, the old school Xbox 360 type of avatars will still be available, but the new versions, they are going to be discontinued. Now, of course, that's not a big story. The big story on the Microsoft front today is that they're once again being investigated by the FTC over some antitrust concerns, and it looks to be centered around their cloud and software licensing business. Now, this is coming from Tom Warren over at TheVerge.com, and like usual, I'll leave a link in the description down below so you guys can check it out for yourself. Now, the article goes on to say that Microsoft is being investigated by the Federal Trade Commission in a wide-ranging antitrust probe, making it the fifth big tech company to fall under such scrutiny in several years. The agency is looking into Microsoft's cloud and software licensing business, cybersecurity services, and AI offerings. Bloomberg first reported the news, and The Verge confirmed the investigation with a person familiar with the matter. Now, the demand for information that spans hundreds of pages and culminates over a year of informal discussion with Microsoft competitors and partners. One focus is on how Microsoft bundles productivity and security software with its Azure cloud, per the source. Now, the FTC's interest in Microsoft's cloud business picked up in the wake of several security incidents impacting its products, particularly because Microsoft is a top supplier of software to the US government agency. The FTC and Microsoft both declined to comment. Now, this is pretty serious. Now, this is not them trying to acquire a company or anything like that. This has to do with their cloud service. Now, recently, as the article stated, they had a breach, and they do have a lot of government contracts. And to be quite honest with you, they do have a huge percent of the cloud market. Now, when you get this big, it's just inevitable that you're going to be investigated at some point. This is not Microsoft's first rodeo either. They've been investigated several times. Now, I will say the old Microsoft from like 25 years ago, they did a lot of things that were questionable and they received a lot of fines. Now, over the years, they've stopped doing these practices, and I will say that the Microsoft today is not the same Microsoft of old. Nonetheless, they are being investigated for this, and I'm going to keep an eye on this and we'll see where this goes. At this moment, it's just an early investigation, but obviously this is not good. It's not good for any company to be under the scrutiny of the government. And hopefully they tighten up their security, because they shouldn't be having any type of breaches with any of their software, especially when they're doing work with the government. Now, let's just move on from this and let's go over to X. Now, Elon Musk says too many game studios are owned by giant corporations, so his giant corporation is going to start a studio to make games great again. Now, this is coming from PCGamer.com, and I actually did see the tweet from Elon Musk, or I should say the yeet from Elon Musk about this. Now, a lot of people are upset with some of the games being woke, and I don't want to really go too far down this rabbit hole. Some games, there are some things that are unnecessary in it, and there's other games where people just overreact and just have a knee-jerk reaction. Now, some people don't like their pronouns in the game. Now, I gotta be honest with you, I don't think you need to have any pronouns in games, but at the same time, if a game is good, I'm not gonna boycott that game because it has pronouns. If it's a good game, it's a good game. Unfortunately, some of these games that may have like some woke elements to certain crowds, they are actually not doing well. Now, Dragon Age, it actually came out to a good start, and all of a sudden, its sales have plummeted. In fact, people are playing Stalker 2 than they are playing Dragon Age, and that's just kind of shocking to me. Now, I expected Stalker 2 to do good. I just didn't think it would be as successful as it is. Now, I did a review on the channel. You guys can check that. I'll leave it in the comment section down below. It's a pretty good game. I know right now in the States, the political climate is just like crazy. So just taking the politics out of it, Elon Musk is basically going to start up a studio. It's going to have some AI in it, and they're going to develop games. I don't know if the AI is going to be used to develop games itself, but it's going to be centered around AI, and he wants to do this to make games a little bit more open source, where certain ideas or ideologies aren't forced on people. Now, some people don't like some of these elements in their games. It's just the truth of the matter. And I can say in some instances, it's not necessary. Now, once again, this is up for debate. I'm not going down the rabbit hole in this. I just want to state the news. And the news is stating today that Elon Musk is going to be launching an AI game studio, and he wants to make games a little bit more open. Now let's just move on to this and let's talk about the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, John over at Digital Foundry, he did a video today talking about the rendition of GT7 on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, Gran Turismo was a fantastic looking game. Now, when I compare it to Forza Horizon, I just like Forza Horizon better, but overall, Gran Turismo is a great looking game. Now, when I compare it to the new Forza, now when I initially played Forza, I really did enjoy it. Now that I'm playing a lot more on the PlayStation 5 Pro, and I'm getting to really enjoy this console, because before I just kind of played exclusives on it, I didn't spend too much time with it. Now that I have a lot of time on these games and I'm going over and over and playing different parts of the game, I'm really starting to see the small details that really makes Gran Turismo stand out from its competitors. Now, like usual, I'll leave a link in the description down below so you guys can check it out for yourself, but we're just going to take a look at some snippets from Digital Foundry's video and their impression of Gran Turismo 7 running on the PlayStation 5 Pro.
New patch elevates an already beautiful game to the next level, so let's dig in. This is the new options menu when played on a PS5 Pro. The top settings may look familiar, but if you look down, you'll see 3 new selections as well: 8K support, VR reprojection, and PSSR. But there's more to this than just these options, and that's where I'd like to start. You see, the graphics priority setting now has more of an impact on the in-game graphics. When ray tracing and resolution is selected on the Pro, ray tracing features become available during gameplay. But these options are also influenced by another setting, which we'll get to. The key here is that the same high quality reflections that we saw back in replays can now be enjoyed in gameplay. Well, as before, this allows ray traced reflections to be used across every car on the track. That means self-reflections, world reflections, and reflections of other cars and lights now play realistically off the surface of every vehicle. Improvements you get with ray tracing. Let's start with the car itself. So first, check out the tail lights reflecting on the rear bumper. The car now has proper self-reflections. You'll see this on things like side mirrors, the giant wings on the back of many cars, and everything else. It all reflects properly onto itself. In addition, the environment reflection is now generated via ray tracing, which has some benefits. Firstly, the reflection is now more closely rooted in the actual track design, and secondly, the actual update rate is improved in many scenarios. Here we have a sea of plastics, metals, wood, and cloth all jammed together depending on the car. Since Gran Turismo supports both diffuse and glossy reflections at the same time, the realism is massively boosted. Note how the specular glow of the rasterized lighting is correctly eliminated when using RT, and how all the other surfaces around the car properly reflect the things around them. Thin objects can exhibit additional shimmering and noise, which is always distracting. And furthermore, specific scenarios can cause visual artifacts, such as here using this beautiful Supra. With RT engaged plus PSSR, take a look at the taillights. PSSR cannot quite resolve this properly, and you end up with noisy, flickery results in this area of the image. Not great, is it? But thankfully, in most circumstances, I'd still say it looks very good. It's certainly one of the better PSSR implementations we've seen yet. I didn't really expect Polyphony to upgrade the PSVR 2 mode for the PS5 Pro. It wasn't discussed in any significant capacity, but when you drop into the options menu, you'll find this option pertaining to it. The game doesn't even really explain what it does, other than noting that you may encounter some visual anomalies and it makes the racing feel more realistic. But upon inspection, it turned out to be one of the best features of this patch. It takes GT7 to the next level in VR by basically solving my #1 issue with the original version, motion clarity. On PS5 Pro, this new reprojection option, however, fixes this entirely. It's instantly noticeable. Motion is now ultra crisp, the double image effect is gone, and nearly all remaining blur is addressed fully. The difference in clarity is profound. Plus, actual image quality seems higher too. It's sharper and feels more detailed to the eye.
Now, PSSR in this game, it's having some artifact issues. And I gotta discuss this because every time a PlayStation 5 Pro game has some type of artifacting issue, people kind of jump out the window saying how horrible the system is and it's worse than the regular Xbox. And this is just ridiculous. Now, if you really want to know about the technology and you're not some type of troll, machine learning, it gets better over time. It has different iterations. It corrects problems within itself. So the next rendition of PSSR, it's not going to have these issues. It's going to clean it up. So I would expect in some point in time that this game will get an update and that issue will be fixed. Now, having it come out at launch and wanting to play your brand new shiny and seeing some of these small issues, sure, it sucks. But let's not act like the game is not fantastic on the PlayStation 5 Pro. You're getting a higher resolution. You're getting higher frame rates. You're getting ray tracing. Now, if you're unhappy with the PSSR implementation in this game, there is a toggle within the game to turn it off. You do not have to play it with PSSR. You can play it with TAA and with ray tracing. Now, unfortunately, if you use TAA with ray tracing, the dash of the car, the ray tracing is not active. And I gotta say, that's kind of a kicker for me because I wanna play this in VR. That's another area where this game had a huge update. The virtual reality version of Gran Turismo with your PlayStation 5 Pro and your headset resolves a better looking image, better motion with ray tracing. It's just a much cleaner looking image. So you're getting an update from the PlayStation 5 Pro with your VR headset. It's running better, it's looking better, it's at a higher fidelity. That is a good thing. Once again though, the PSSR implementation in certain aspects of this game, it is worse and they need to fix this. Now this doesn't mean that PSSR is worse than FSR. This is just ridiculous. It just means that we need more iterations of PSSR. And once again, if you really want to know about the technology, DLSS, XeSS, they all went through these things. Even FSR to a certain degree went through the same thing. When technology is new, of course, it gets better over time. And I'm telling you guys, I am guaranteeing it, that in 6 months' time, a lot of these games are gonna not have any of these issues at all. Anyways, I want to get to the big topic of the day, and that is Forza Horizon 5. A PlayStation 5 release was ready but delayed. Now, this is incredible news. Now, I've been upset with Microsoft for allowing so many of their exclusives to go over to the PlayStation brand. Now, you guys know that recently Phil Spencer came out and said there is no red line when he was asked about Halo going over to the PlayStation. Now, if a media outlet asks about your flagship title, the identity of your console, the possibility of it going over to another platform, specifically your top competitor, and you say there's no red line, how could you still believe that all of the games are not at some point in time going to show up on the PlayStation? It's just unbelievable at this point. And now we have confirmation that Forza Horizon 5 was ready for the PlayStation 5, but it was delayed, but it is still coming. Now, Forza is a game that is synonymous with Xbox. Yes, it's on PC, but it's synonymous with the Xbox console. The fact that this game is coming to the PlayStation 5 and you think that other first-party games that are the core identity of Xbox are not coming also to the PlayStation 5, I don't know what to say to you guys. Anyways, let's just get into the article. Now, this is coming from insidergaming.com, and like usual, I'll leave a link in the description down below so you guys can check it out for yourself. Now, the article goes on to say that Forza Horizon 5 was all set to launch on the PlayStation 5, but the game's release on the console was ultimately delayed. Now, this is according to a new claim by a known leaker. Now, this was posted on social media, and they said the release was delayed over the summer, but made sure to clarify that it wasn't canceled. It was said that it is a belief that the game will be a success on the PlayStation 5, and that it still is in the plans. They go on to say it will arrive, they just don't know when. Now, I don't know how credible this person is because I've never heard of this leaker before, but we are going to be using insidergaming.com for a source because in the past they've reported some pretty good stuff. So let's just take them at their word. I will say that behind the scenes, I have also heard that Forza is going to make an appearance on the PlayStation. I've also heard that Starfield is coming to PlayStation. So this isn't really that shocking to me per se, because we kind of know what to expect now. When Microsoft comes out, or I should say, Xbox boss Phil Spencer comes out and says that there is no red line, you better believe that the entire slate most likely is going to make an appearance at some time. Now, I can see a situation where they release some games day and date on both platforms. I can see another situation where they release games a year later or perhaps 6 months later. But I think the majority of their games are going to make an appearance on the PlayStation. Now, if this is true and Forza makes an appearance on the PlayStation 5, then that's it. It's a wrap. Halo's going to come. Gears of War most likely is going to come. Their entire game catalog most likely will come, with some just staying on the Xbox platform for an exclusive amount of time. Now, this doesn't mean that Microsoft or Xbox is going to stop making consoles. They still are going to make consoles. There's still a next generation console in the works. So I want to be really clear on that. Some people are saying, oh, there's going to be no console. That's it. They're bowing out. There is a next generation console already coming. It's most likely going to come at the end of 2026 or like 2027. They're going to have a handheld device that I think is going to pretty much launch with the system. And I think that Sony is doing the same thing too. We heard some reports earlier this week that Sony is making another handheld device, that it's in the early stages. So that would be a couple of years, 3 years. The next PlayStation is coming out in 2 to 3 years' time. I think about 3 years' time. That's the official report that I've heard, that it's going to be coming out in like 2027, 2028. So that would make sense that they're in the early development stages for it and they launch it with the console. So these things are in plans. They're already set in motion. So it doesn't matter what happens for the rest of this generation. There's still going to be a next generation Xbox. Now that console, if it doesn't do well, then at that point, maybe they would bow out of the console market. But for the time being, that is just not the case. Now, the exclusives, I just don't know how the console will survive when you put your exclusives on your competing platform. Your competing platform that is beating you, that has more exclusives than you. And now they're going to have your exclusives as well. It really gives gamers less of an option to pick up an Xbox Series X when the PlayStation 5 has a lot of games and it's getting Xbox games as well. Just from a console strategy standpoint, where you want to sell as many consoles as possible, it just doesn't make sense to me. But what do I know? I'm not running a multi-million-dollar company, but it just looks crazy to me that Forza Horizon 5 is going to be coming to the PlayStation 5. And we have the PlayStation 5 Pro now. So that game is going to look and run better on Sony's platform. And as an Xbox fan for over 20 years, it's just crazy to me. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think about all this. What do you think about Forza going over to the PlayStation 5? Are you surprised? Is it expected? Do you think that all of the Xbox first-party games will make an appearance on the PlayStation console at some point in time? I also want to know what your thoughts are on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Do you have one? Are you happy with the performance? Are you excited for the VR update that comes with the PlayStation 5 Pro on Gran Turismo? I'm going to be trying out that game. I'll report in future videos my thoughts on it. Now, before I let you guys go, I know it's Black Friday coming up, and I'm going to try to put out a video to show you guys the best monitors, the best TVs, and the best prices that you can get. We're going to have TVs that will give you the best bang for your dollar, and TVs that will give you the best performance of HDR or for gaming. So we're going to go through some of those TVs. Hopefully, I'll have the video up in time for Black Friday. If not, you can follow my X account at dbatch. I will definitely be putting up a lot of deals and recommendations on that platform. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think about today's stories. It was crazy. Microsoft being investigated by the FTC. Elon Musk is going to be making an AI gaming company. Microsoft bringing their first party games to the PlayStation. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Like I usually say, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.